The next question will be directed to Ovide first, and then we'll go right down the line. There's broad agreement from the left and the right that the federal tax code is broken. What is the most meaningful way to tax reform? In other words, if you were elected to the United States Senate, what would you do to reform the existing tax code?
Well, I'm pleased to have the support of Steve Forbes, who is one of the chief proponents of a flat tax, a simpler tax, and I would want to work with Steve Forbes and other like-minded people to bring us into a level of tax simplification. A couple things are worth noting. 47% of Americans don't even pay an income tax. Now, I'm opposed to taxation, generally speaking, but I support a tax that everyone has a chance to pay something towards. We need to have more investors in America. In other words, people who are contributing, because right now 47% of our citizens are in the wagon, not pulling the wagon. They don't have skin in the game. They're going to be like Greece. We're going to be like Greece with our own citizens protesting changes that have to be made. So a flatter, simpler tax, and one that's pro-growth. I would support eliminating the capital gains tax. That alone will inject a whole new economic activity into our economy and pull us out of this recession. Thank you.
I think the first thing we need to do is repeal the tax code, because it is so complicated and you need so many professionals even to do a simple transaction. It's absurd. We repeal it, we replace it with, again, a simpler, flatter tax code, and one that makes sure that we don't spend all of our time employing more our IRS agents, because that's all our tax code does right now, and it takes money from the economy with how much time it takes us to fill out their taxes. So I'd repeal it, flatter, simple tax. And then I'll also say in January, we're going to see tax increases on capital gains, interest, dividends, a reinstatement of the death tax, an increase in personal income tax. We've got to stop all of those tax increases. All that does is take money from our economy that does not go back in to put people to work. And that has to stop, and I think this fall, getting elected, the right senators and congressmen across this country will give us an opportunity to do that. Finally, we have the second highest corporate tax rate in the world. And you wonder why we continue to ship jobs overseas. We have to look at cutting that tax rate too, or we are not going to continue to be competitive.
We have three parallel problems with our government. We have too much taxation, we have too much regulation, and we have too much litigation. And part of the problem, with all due respect to my two colleagues here, is we have a Congress that's nearly 70% lawyers. And that's what they do. They regulate. Now, the IRS is a classic example of overregulation. Do you know that the IRS has 189 different tax forms? How can that possibly make any sense? In addition to the fact that the average American works 4 months a year just to pay their federal tax bill, and some work nearly 6 months a year to pay their tax bill, and then the government goes and spends nearly twice that much each year. We are overregulated. The complex system of our tax code is in itself a tax. It takes people so much time to even figure out how to do their taxes. And we need to make this simpler. Now, there's many ways to make it simpler. A flat tax would certainly be one way, where you exempt all income up to a certain level, and then a flat tax above that level. I think that would be fair, it would be stimulative, and it would let everybody know where they stand without 189 different tax forms and all kinds of gimmicks. So I favor a simpler IRS and actually less regulation throughout our federal government. We are just an overregulated society, and one of the things that holds down our economy is every regulation costs something. It costs something in everything we buy. We've got to bring that to a close. Thank you.